Alright, hello everyone, welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk, and in this video I will be continuing to highlight the historical run that the Indiana Wesleyan University women's softball team had. 43-15 overall record, 30-6 in the Crossroads League, just an amazing season. I have a very special guest with me this morning. She had a phenomenal rookie season in the circle, 158 strikeouts, which is just absolutely amazing as a freshman. And that special guest that's joining me today is pitcher Avery Toole. And Avery, thanks so much for being able to join me this morning and for doing this interview.
Yes, thanks for having me on this morning. I'm super excited just to share my perspective with you.
Yeah, for sure. And my first question to start off is, how did you become interested in playing softball, and why'd you choose to pursue it in college, and what led you to attend Indiana Wesleyan University?
Okay, so I kind of come from a softball family. When I was growing up, my parents They played co-ed slow pitch. So when I was younger, that's what I grew up in. I sat on the side and played in the dirt with who knows what I was playing with. And then my older sister also played. She also played slow pitch at the time. And so I kind of got into it. I thought it was really fun. I started when I was about four years old in T-ball, just playing for fun, and I found the love of the game. And so I just kept playing. I also, at the time, decided to try and play basketball too. So I played basketball and softball when I was younger. And then around, I would say 5th or 6th grade, my parents were like, "Okay, you got to pick," because I was playing travel in both, and it was just too much for my body as such a young kid. So I picked softball probably because I was better at it, and I liked it more. So that was a lot of fun. And then in high school, that's when it kind of got serious for me. I only was a pitcher because I was the coach's daughter, and no one else wanted to do it. So he's like, "Yep, you're going to pitch." So I pitched for one of my travel ball teams, and I think 10U was the first time I started pitching. And then I kept going. I thought me and one of the other coach's daughter, who is my best friend, we pitched together all the time. So it was fun to pitch and do fun competition games. And so we really grew in that aspect. And I played for 2 travel ball teams through my high school career. So I played with my friends on one, and then I ended up leaving that to go get recruited. So I played for Lady Duke's national Keymeyer/Lamar team that I absolutely loved. It was so much fun. I loved playing with those girls. And half of those girls I see in conference, they play for Marion, they play for other schools in our conference. So it's fun to play them too. So Babs was recruiting me at the time. I obviously did not get recruited by Coach Coy, but I think she's a blessing to this program. She's great. I love her as a coach. She's fantastic. But at the time, getting recruited by the previous coach, it was my first set of emails I ever sent out to any coaches, and he reached back out. He was one of the first coaches that ever reached back out to me, which was so cool in my opinion. And they were heading somewhere to go play postseason, I think. And so he reached out, and I was like, "Hey," he's like, "I think you should come to a camp." So I came to a camp, and I loved it. I loved the aspect of it. I loved the small community. I graduated from Brownsburg, which is a huge school. I had a huge class, just a lot of people in one area, and I knew that I didn't really want to go big. I just didn't love that aspect. I didn't want to have huge schools, and I want to do nursing, and doing nursing is not easy when you play softball. It's not easy. They don't want to share you with clinicals. They don't want to share you with whatever classes that you have. So I think that was a huge aspect for me. And so I went on campus. I ended up loving it. I went to multiple camps. I kind of was he offered me, I think, my junior year of high school, but I had gone to multiple camps before that, just get experience, get to know the girls. It was so much fun, and I loved it there. And then we went on a tour of campus, and my mom said as soon as I stepped on that campus, she knew that was where I was going no matter what. I did not know that. I didn't know that she said that, but yeah, so I ended up going. I committed I think November of my junior year, and signed later that year to come play. But it truly was just yeah, this is where I'm going to go play, and I was so excited, and I was so excited about the faith aspect as well, because that's something that I had never experienced before in softball and in life, truly. So I was super excited to go play.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, for being a nursing major, I'm sure that there it's a lot of late nights and not a lot of sleep. I can imagine, for sure. So, yeah, my next question for you is: obviously, you guys had a great regular season, 30-6 in the Crossroads League, won the league regular season title, and got the first automatic bid into the national tournament. And you had some great wins in the regular season: two against Marion, two against St. Francis. Two of the other top teams, I should say, in the conference. But also some tough losses: one to Taylor, one to Huntington in the regular season, and then the Crossroads League tournament, suffering back-to-back losses against Spring Arbor and Huntington, two very, very good teams, great pitching, and especially for Spring Arbor with Emily Underwood, had the leading ERA in terms of the whole entire league. But for you guys, to be in that environment in the Crossroads League tournament, just what was that experience like for you as a pitcher, getting the chance to pitch in your very first Crossroads League tournament?
I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. It was scared. I was scared. I was scared no matter what game we were playing, because I was like, these girls are good, and I know they're good, and I know that I have to bring my best for them, for us to compete with them, even though that we have a great defense, we have a great offense, and I knew they had my back the entire time. But for me as a freshman, mentally I was like, I don't know, I was nervous. So for me it took a lot of mental prep, a lot of things that nobody saw, a lot of things that I kind of was like, okay, well, I have to get my mind right before I go in this game. So I a lot of time had a routine before every game. I would do dynamics with the team, and then they'd split into infield, outfield, and I was kind of like, okay, this is the time where I'm gonna get my head right. So I'd watch the team, I'd watch the joy they have as they're warming up, as they're playing, and just seeing God through that. Oh my gosh, we're here because of him. So I sat and watched them, and then I would go into mental prep. So I'd stretch, obviously, do some certain stretches, just get my body warm, and then I would go and sit on the fence line somewhere in the bullpen, and I'd be like, okay, and I'd pray that it would just I could be what my team needed. I prayed that whatever God wanted from me, however I could be a disciple to anybody in the crowd, that's how I was going to do it. I wasn't going to do it through my performance. I was going to do it through the way I acted, the way I handled things, stuff like that. So going into conference tournament, knowing that we had a bid, obviously we did not do well in conference tournament, which is fine, I guess. But just the way the team rallies is kind of something I've never experienced before. Just the way that we love each other no matter what. That was something that I had never experienced. And there's so many girls that I could shout out and be like, they helped me a ton. But there's so many different girls that matter to me. So I'll mention Sarah Rubel, our third baseman. She is such a good person, one, and two, she's such a good teammate. Within every pitch, every out, she's always coming up, hey, you're doing great, you're keep it up, you're out here for a reason. And she'd tell me that over and over and over again, and that not only puts my trust in her, but that builds my confidence. So she's been great. Danny at shortstop is great. Our infield is great, and so is our outfield. There's never a time where I don't look out and see Morgan Yater in center field and be like, oh yeah, we've got it. And we have this communication that way. So just leaning on my teammates when I was nervous, leaning on the staff, leaning on my catcher. Man, Madison Tharp is fantastic. I don't think she gets enough credit for what she does. I love her dearly. She is so good. She gets me so much strikes and stuff I shouldn't have gotten. And just the way she keeps composure and knows, okay, Avery needs this right now. So then she'll come and talk to me or whatever. So she's just a fantastic catcher that I've never experienced too. And she's just really great at what she does. And I don't think everybody knows the behind the scenes with the catcher pitcher duo. They oh, they're really close. No, we know what each other needs at certain times. So I think that helped. Coaching staff was also a big yes for me. Coach Kins, our pitching coach, had a baby. So she was in and out, but she was always there, a text message away. Hey, this is what I'm struggling with. Can you help me? And she was always first to respond as quickly as she could. That was really great. And then Coach Josh, our catching coach, also stepped up kind of in that pitching role a little bit, while Coach Kins was gone, and was always, hey, how's it going? How are we feeling today? What's working? What's not working? How can we get you to your best that we need today? So that sort of stuff. And just truly trusting my team, truly trusting that I am meant to be there for a reason. And the coaches believe in me.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, that leads me into my next question. You guys obviously know that despite the early exit in the Crossroads League tournament, you were up for sure locking the national tournament via an automatic bid with sweeping Huntington at home on senior day, while at the same time, Marion sweeping St. Francis down in Indianapolis. But now we get to the national tournament, and obviously you guys get sent down to Lindsey Wilson. A really good team. You guys match up with Missouri Baptist, ranked 8th in the country. You upset them 6-4, and then you play Lindsey Wilson, upset them 11-3, and their star pitcher that had over 235 strikeouts going into that game compared to only 34 walks. You guys put up just a slew of offensive power against her, and that was the most runs she had given up since they had played Freed-Hardman, another team in that tough Mid-South Conference earlier in the season. But for you guys going down to Lindsey Wilson, upsetting Missouri Baptist, upsetting Lindsey Wilson, it just seemed like the team went into overdrive times two going down there. So was that just mainly because of the early Crossroads League tournament exits where you guys just had so much power to where you guys just flipped the switch? Just what led to that success at the opening round site at Lindsey Wilson?
I would say for me, it was after conference tournament coming home and seeing my family and just talking. My dad's a huge person in my life, especially with softball. He coached me for a really long time. So coming home and being like, okay, what are you seeing from me? Like, what do I need to prepare myself for upcoming tournament, and like, what do I need to do? And so we worked a little bit in that, and it was mostly mental for me. I knew that I had trained hard enough to that I was good enough to be out there. I trained really hard in the winter, and I knew that, like, okay, I've got this. Like, I physically am good, but mentally I need to get better. So it took that. So coming home and then going back, and we were there for a few days to practice, and just the way our team collected and gathered, like one day, like we were all living in the same hall, like because we all lived on campus. So just like seeing each other every night, doing random things. We played spike ball in the lobby, like just having fun with each other that wasn't like competitive, and just like being in each other's presence, but not at practice, like outside. Because like, yeah, in regular season, we do have that, but we're not all living next door to each other. So just that sort of aspect, and just fully coming together as a team. And then on the bus right there, it was so much fun. I remember we all were just talking, having fun, playing cards on the bus, just keeping it light, knowing that like we're going and we have a job to get done, but also it's supposed to be fun. That's the point of softball. Like, it's not supposed to be serious all the time. So getting to Lindsey Wilson, we practiced on the field, which was really cool, which they allowed us to do. And just like seeing them practice and ball out and have so much fun and just do what they love. And it's fun to see that. And like, we also pitchers got to pitch on that mound. So we got to figure out, okay, this mound feels like this way. So you were prepared mentally for that. But then even like, I think doing the worship night with some of the teams came out, we invited all the teams to come out and do a worship night with us. And like some girls came, we had a pretty big crowd, I would say. And just like getting to worship and just get to know each other. We all split up into groups and talked about our faith stories and stuff like that. It was just really cool to know the girls on a personal level too. Like, hey, like we're competing against each other, but you're still a person that I'm interested in. Like, you're still someone I care about no matter what. And I would also say we write prayer cards to every team and give them. And that's also been an aspect that I truly love, and I think it matters. And you can see it matters. It doesn't matter if they write you back or not, or they DM you on Instagram. It's more of like, I know that she's getting filled with the truth before every game, and that, or after every game. And I think that also something that I love about IWU. And so getting to see how that changed some people in tournament, and how like our platform grew a little bit going to tournament, and how we got to like just spread his love, was something that like kept me going, kept me being like, no, I'm meant to be here. So we got our minds right, and then the seniors kind of rallied. They were like, okay, well, we have a choice. Are we gonna say our season's over? Are we gonna be like, no, we have nothing to lose, we're gonna push it? So they pushed us. They were like, okay, we're gonna get it done. And so so that was kind of something that rallied us. And someone who comes to mind is Briley. She took on a DH spot in postseason, and she was such a good leader, I would say, especially for me and Tharp, because we're freshmen. Like, we didn't really know, we'd never play on this level, so we were kind of like, but she was really great. She called pitches. She knew, hey, this is what they're going to swing at. Like, let's do this. Like, it's moving. You're good. If you don't like this pitch, come talk to me. If something's not feeling right, come talk to me. So that was really great just to talk to her. And like, her experience, she has so much experience. So just her softball knowledge was so big that like, I obviously would trust her anyways, but like, I knew what she was saying was true, and I knew that she knew what she was doing. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, so just going out there, playing with my girls, having fun. And if I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to look at stats. I didn't want to look at who the other team was, because for me, I knew it would make me nervous. If I knew, oh my gosh, we're playing number 8 in the conference, I know I'm not doing that. I don't ever do that. I don't know who you are. I don't want to know your stats. I don't want to know your hitting stats. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw my best game, whether you are batting nothing or you're batting 300. Like, I just don't, I don't look at that sort of stuff. I know our coaches do, and our Riley did, and knew who it was, but I just kind of went out there and I threw my game, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to play, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I trusted my defense, and they had my back the whole way. So
Yeah, for sure. And I love just hearing, your experience, especially as a freshman pitching in the national tournament. I'm sure that can be a little bit nerve-wracking and scary as well. So that leads me into my next question. And then you guys advance to the final site after beating Johnson at Lindsey Wilson. You go down to Georgia. The weather, it was kind of iffy throughout. But and then you guys go down there. You lose a tough game to number 1 in the country, Madonna. They had that big 6th inning, but outside of that, you guys were right there with them the whole way. Excellent team, the Crusaders, and very, very well deserving of winning the national championship, and excellent pitching staff as well. And then, most notably, you guys upset number 6 in the country, Southern Oregon, 3-1, the defending national champions. And I'll be honest, Avery, when I saw that score the following morning, I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, I was so excited, and I'm like, this is just awesome. And just seeing just how well you pitched in that game was just absolutely amazing against a phenomenal team. And then, of course, you had that tough loss to end the run to Our Lady of the Lake in extra innings, where you pitched really amazing despite the tough loss, going, I think it was 10 innings and like 100, I think it was over 150 pitches that game. But still, despite that, you guys finished in the Final Four at the national tournament, which is just, the furthest ever that the team has gone. So just what was that experience like as a freshman, pitching under extreme high pressure at the final site for the very first time? Just what was that experience like, including pitching in that big upset win over number 6 Southern Oregon?
yeah, so the Southern Oregon game is a game I'll obviously never forget. It was a night game too, and you don't get to play those very often. And they're honestly some of my favorite games is night games, because they're fun. You get to play underneath the lights. It's a different aspect. You have to look at the lights and figure out where the ball's going. But I just remember pitching that game, and I knew who they were. Obviously, Southern Oregon. But I was kind of like, okay, like, we're gonna go out there and play our best game, and if our best is not good enough, then it's not good enough. Like, if we're gonna lose, like, if we're meant to lose, we're gonna lose. But if we're meant to win, we're gonna win. And that's kind of the mental side I was going into. That day had been rough. It rained a lot, and I think I had warmed up a few times during those rainouts. So I was like, okay, well, my body's a little tired. It's not tired, but I'm a little tired. So like, I'm gonna have to give it all I got out there. And this is what I've been training for. I kept telling myself, like, this is what I've been training for. This is important. Like, I need to come out there and I need to do it. So I remember going out there and just pitching, and I had a lot of movement that game, because I knew that I wasn't throwing my hardest. And so I was like, okay, then I'm going to focus on spin. So I moved the ball around, getting pop-ups, getting stuff that I knew that, like, my defense can get. So I remember being so happy and just seeing my defense behind me, and also getting to make some plays myself, moving off the mound, getting to field some balls. I don't even know. To be honest with you, I kind of just was like, okay, we're gonna go do it, and just seeing that. And then at the end of the game, I'll never forget everybody running to the circle. yes, it was so exciting. It was kind of like, whoa, what's happening? But that was so much fun just to see like all of our team came out, and just getting to see their faces and how happy they were. And like, that makes it worth everything. And that makes it worth the hard training in the winter. That makes it worth not wanting to move. That makes it worth like the workouts and the intentional eating habits and stuff like that, because those smiles I will never forget in my entire life. And there's pictures to prove it, so then I can get to keep them. But just like seeing that. And then another important game before that game was, I think it was Cumberland's. That game was also one of my games that was probably the hardest mentally on me. We had gone so long into extra innings. It's still a 0-0 ball game, and then we scored, and then they would score, and so like we went into extra innings and stuff like that. And it was a really low scoring game. And I remember being out on the mound, and like bases were loaded, and I think I had one out, and I was like, okay, well, I can't let this girl score on third base. Like, I'm not doing that. So I think I got outs and stuff, but I remember in my head, like before on the bus, I always intentionally listen to certain music. It's usually like elevation worship and Wilson songs, just to like get my heart right with God first. And I remember standing on that mound, and I was like, a song kept playing in my head, guaranteeing me that like God's with me, like I'm gonna see a victory, like this doesn't matter now, but the victory in the end will. And not even in softball, just like in how many people can ascend to heaven. So I was sitting there and I was like singing it and stuff like that. We end up winning the game, and we get out into the circle, and Courtney immediately says, I just want to say, like, Avery's heart for the Lord is crazy right now. She's like, she was singing on the bus this one song, and I turned and looked at her, and I was like, I was singing that on the mound, just to let you know, like, that's, and it was just kind of like a full circle moment of like God working through all of us and seeing that sort of aspect. So that was really important to me. And in the OLLU game, the game that we ended up losing, I remember going out the last two innings, and I was tired. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was tired. I think you could see it. It was hot. I was in an undersleeve trying to keep my body warm. I was tired. I was very, I don't even know how to say it. And I remember going out, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give you all I got. This is it. I'm emptying the tank. Like, we got, like, this is it. And so I went out there. I got us out of the second to last inning. And then the last inning, I was like, okay, this is all I got. Like, I'm going to give it off. And I ended up getting hit that inning in the knee. And I have a few knee issues already. And so switching to Isabel Vital Cheese was the right option, I think. And so I remember talking to, we call her Cheese. I remember talking to Cheese and being like, hey, you got this. Like, you totally got this. I have all my faith in you. Like, you're meant to be out here, because that's what I needed when I was out there. Because you get out there and the stands are there, your heart races. So just talking to her and being like, you got this. Like, the same stuff she talked into me when I was first starting out in the conference, like pitching my first game. You got this. Like, I have your back if you need me, but you don't need me. Like, that sort of thing. And so just speaking truth into her also mattered a lot to me. And the way our pitching staff in general, we're staff. We don't compete with each other. That's something I've also never experienced. So, like, no matter who's pitching, we're like, okay, if you start to struggle, I have your back, but you're not going to need me. That's kind of like the thing that we do when we're a staff. It's a hand off the ball. It's not, oh, dang it, like, they took me out. No. It's a hand off the ball, like, you got this, like, this is, like, you are supposed to be in, like, this is what the team needs, and that's what's best for the team. So seeing that aspect, I was, like, we are happy to pass the ball off to each other. If you can do better than I do, of course I want you in. Of course I want you for the team. So that sort of aspect, too, and knowing the entire time I was pitching postseason that I had girls that had my back the entire time. We have a big pitching staff. We have multiple girls that I know can get the job done. So knowing that me going out, if I didn't have my best day, someone else on the pitching staff was going to have their best day, and they had my back no matter what. So just seeing that and seeing how our pitching staff always came together and was like, okay, we got each other. Like, we're good. So just seeing that, I think that was super important, not only for, like, the pitching staff and for the coaches to see, but also the team. I think the team seeing that, like, oh my, like, the pitching staff has got it. they love each other. They got it. Like, no matter who's in, like, they're going to give us their best. I think that also mattered to the team, and I think it was important for them as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that was very well said. Like, thank you so much for sharing that, because, and especially that song, See a Victory by Elevation Worship. Like, I love that. And just, for me and what I'm going through, and in the preparation season I'm in, I'm trusting God for what's around the corner, and I believe He has bigger things ahead for me, and I know at times it can be really, really hard to trust His plan, but His plan and timing is always the best, and your story, that definitely encouraged me, and thank you again for sharing that, and for sharing your perspective on the field. It's not... Yeah, like your story was just amazing, and you're an amazing pitcher, and it was so much fun seeing you pitch in person this year, when you all came here to Mount Vernon back in April when it was really cold outside. I think it was only like 40 degrees and felt like 35, and we had that big comeback win in the second game, which was absolutely amazing. But yeah, so Avery, again, thank you so much for doing this today, and this was a great conversation, and it was amazing just to hear your story, how you came to IWU and how the season progressed with you in the circle and how you kept God at the center of it all, which is really, really important. And I just love how, you go out there in the circle and you're like, God, I trust you no matter the result of this game. I know that you're right there with me, and I love that. Like that is what it's all about. And obviously, I know in the real world outside of IWU, that it's a little bit different, but most importantly, just being able to share your faith. Like I love that. I really, really do. And again, thank you so much for doing this interview this morning, Avery. It was great conversation. I truly appreciate you being able to come on my sports show and talk about your Indiana Wesleyan experience. But
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. And for those of you,
I'm happy to spread the love and all of my perspective, just because I think it is important for other young athletes to hear that, like, oh, you can have God in your life and still play at a high level and still have fun and still want to be good. I think a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to like push God aside to be good. No, you can do both. I mean, it's obviously adjustment, but you can do both. And I think it's important for especially young athletes to know that it's possible.
Yeah, amen, absolutely. Well, thank you. And for those of you watching this video, if you did enjoy it, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.